to another video starring me. Anyways, as you can tell by the title, this is another visit to Goodwill. This is one in Hazlet, New Jersey, which I've done, I think, one video on already, and mentioned one or two, I don't remember, but I mentioned how successful, I guess you'd say, the trips were to this Hazlet Goodwill. A lot of times you go to these Goodwills and you'll go there, and that first time you'll be like, oh wow, you'll find a handful of things. Then you'll go back to that same Goodwill, like, you know, a few weeks later or something like that, and be disappointed. But this Hazlet Goodwill, I'll tell you, every time I go there, I find something. You know, maybe it's just 2 CDs or whatever, but I'm continuously finding things. So that's what we're going to look at today. We got 10 CDs that I've picked up there over the course of, I think, 3 different visits. So let's just dive right in. 1999, we get A Tribe Called Quest anthology album, like greatest hits, best of, whatever you want to call it. And I know, like, this is like the kind of perfect thing for somebody like me to own by A Tribe Called Quest, because I know a handful of their songs, the popular ones that probably everybody knows. So, you know, it's kind of like a good starter kit. Just seemed like a good thing to have in the collection. I mean, they're a really talented, cool band, hip-hop, kind of funk, that kind of stuff. Q-Tip is in the band, who I don't know if I first kind of discovered Q-Tip through the Beastie Boys, but I know he's on a couple other albums, but always liked him. I always thought he was really talented. But yeah, just a really cool one. Some of the songs on here, Bonita Applebaum, I remember that one. Can I Kick It, of course. Scenario. And yeah, just really good collection of tunes, a little intro to Tribe Called Quest. 1996, we get the Cardigans and their album First Band on the Moon. I'm not sure if this is their debut or not. I'm not positive, but this is certainly their introduction to the American audience, if it's not. They had a pretty successful song on this called Love Fool that was, I don't know how well it did in like the top 40 charts or anything like that, but it was all over MTV and like alternative radio, kind of alternative rock band. And I think they're from Sweden. But I liked that song at the time, but never really delved into any of their other music. Don't know any of their other tunes. Saw this for 99 cents and was like, yeah, sure. I think back then when this came out, I think there was a period where I thought about maybe picking this up. But, you know, that was back when the CD would cost you, you know, $15. So you were kind of like hesitant unless you really, really loved something or knew there were a handful of tunes on it that you wanted to check out. So like I said, Love Fool's on here. I'm not familiar with any of their tunes. The interesting thing is they do a cover of Iron Man by Black Sabbath. Knowing what this sound is of this band, I'm really curious to hear what that sounds like. So yeah, be interested to check out the Cardigans album. 1991, we get Sting's album, The Soul Cages. This is his 3rd solo record. I bought Dream of the Blue Turtles, like that. Bought Nothing Like the Sun when that came out, and like that. But I think when this came out, I just kind of lost a little of my interest in this Sting solo career, you know. So I never picked this up. And I remember at the time when this came out, it was released in the United States, at least. They still had those long boxes that the CDs came in to kind of fill the bins that were left empty by records kind of dwindling away and the CD taking over. So, and Sting, you know, he's very concerned about the environment and all that stuff. And he had worked with, I guess, a company or whatever. There was this, they were trying to come up with like a new version of the long box, which was essentially like the CD packaging cardboard, kind of like an early version of the Digipack, but it was packaged like sort of like this, like a long box, and then after you took the shrink wrap off and everything, it would like fold up, and then it would be like a Digipack, you know, was kind of interesting, but it didn't take off. So anyways, this record comes out. The first single, All This Time, is okay. Just again, I think it just kind of like felt like it was just more of the same, and I kind of lost interest, so I didn't bother picking it up. A few of his solo tunes here and there afterwards, I thought were okay. Fields of Gold, I remember liking on a later record, but just never bothered. I saw this there for 99 cents, and I picked up a later Sting solo album maybe a year ago in a Goodwill that I found. The name of it is slipping my mind, but I really didn't like it. I thought I'd give it a shot, and maybe something on there would kind of click with me, and I really was kind of disappointed. I wasn't really that into it. So I'm kind of doing the same thing with this record, because aside from the single All This Time, I'm not familiar with any of the other songs on this record. I'm sure there were one or two other singles that were released. I just don't remember them. But and it's kind of like a concept record about the death of his father. So, I'll be curious to check it out. Hopefully, maybe, it clicks with me. I'll kind of enjoy it. But we'll see. Hopefully, Sting does not disappoint me again. 1985, we got Billy Joel's Greatest Hits Volume 1 and 2. He avoided what a lot of other bands have often done when they put out a Greatest Hits Volume 1 record and then they never have a Volume 2. It's like a curse or something, or a jinx. But he put both Volume 1 and 2 out together, combined, so avoided the jinx. What do you need to say about this? Some people give Billy Joel some crap, but I like him, Greatest Hits is, I don't know that I need to dig deep into his, albums and deep tracks and all that. I think Greatest Hits is kind of, it's a fun package. There's a lot of really good, catchy tunes, got all the lyrics and everything in here. Just lyrics, it would have been cooler if there were some like liner notes, maybe him talking about his career or something like that, but I think this was kind of a little before they really started getting into that with CDs, and hits collections, putting all these kind of like stories or into the liner notes and stuff. But I don't have a ton. I have a couple of Billy Joel records, but none of this earlier stuff. I think I have Glass Houses. That's probably the earliest CD of his I have. But I just thought, 99 cents, just thought it'd be cool to have this collection in here. And it's got all the songs you're familiar with: Piano Man, New York State of Mind, Moving Out, My Life, Big Shot, etc., etc. All the tunes. But yeah, nice collection. 1971, speaking of greatest hits records, we have the Rolling Stones and Hot Rocks, 1964 to 1971, in one of the old fat CD cases. I have all the CDs that I have that had come in these, I've kind of put into the slimmer like CD, double CD things like the Billy Joel one, and did that with them. And and I don't throw the artwork away, I just kind of store it off. But anyways, I'm not a huge Rolling Stones fan. I have this is all my extent of my Rolling Stone collection is another greatest hits record by them, 40 Licks, which is really good. I like it. It sort of serves its purpose for me. It seems like everything that I need is more or less on there. But I saw this, and it was like 99 cents in the Goodwill, and it just kind of jumps out at you. It's not something you're expecting to see there. So I picked it up. Most of the tunes that are on here are on there. There's a couple of songs that aren't, so I don't know why I really picked this up. It just kind of felt like something. I think I might end up just giving this to a friend if they want it. But kind of a cool package, like I said. I mean, again, I know they have a lot of really great records. I've never been that into the Rolling Stones, like a lot of the singles, the hits and everything, but never been that interested in diving too deep. Saw them live on the Steel Wheels tour in Philadelphia. It was pretty good. Enjoyed that show. But yeah, just kind of a interesting pickup. Saw it there, just kind of just decided to grab it. Why not? It's at 99 cents. 1996, we get Fountains of Wayne and their debut. Fountains of Wayne from New Jersey, really good alternative rock band, right? Just like the catchiest tunes and melodies and everything. I feel like they're a band that never were as big as you think they should have been. Writing songs that catchy, it just seemed like they should have been so much bigger. But they had a great career. Unfortunately, Adam Schlesinger of the band passed away in 2020 from COVID, which is a real bummer. But just an awesome band. I think I had like 1 or 2 CDs by them. And saw this there and grabbed it. Never had this one. Big hit off of this was Radiation Vibe. I remember MTV really pushing that to make it successful. I'm not that familiar with a lot of these other songs, but you know, I'm sure it's just chock full of a lot of great catchy tunes. 2000, we get Colin Hay from Men at Work and his album Going Somewhere. I like Men at Work. I think I don't know if you'd call them underrated because they were very successful and had a lot of, hits, but I don't know that they're kind of, looked upon that highly, these days. They were a good band. He was a talented songwriter, probably, deserve a little more credit or whatever than they get. He went solo, and I remember not much about his solo career. Just one song I remember called Looking for Jack that came out in the 80s that I remember liking. I think the album's called that as well. I remember liking that song. So I saw this there at Goodwill, and I picked it up, and I see Looking for Jack on here, and I thought maybe this was like a greatest hits record, but it's not. It's kind of like just like an acoustic album, and he does Looking for Jack on here. I don't know if any of these other songs are older tunes of his either. I'm not sure, but it's pretty good. It's like a nice listen, really mellow and stuff. And I saw him live in when was that? Maybe the late 90s or something. I saw him in Los Angeles live, and he used to, I don't know if he still does, but he used to do a really great show. I mean, I remember, people like in the city, you'd talk to people or whatever, they'd always be like, you should go see him. It was kind of like not a hot ticket, like it was hard to get in or anything, but like people were always saying it was a really, really good show because he'd play the tunes. Maybe he had a little bit of a band, or maybe it was just him by himself playing a guitar, but he'd talk between the songs and tell stories, and he's very funny. So it was a great show, really good. And so, pick this up. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Like I said, it's pretty mellow, and just a good little collection of acoustic tunes by Mr. Colin Hay. 1989, we get Lou Reed's album New York. Remember when this came out, the big tune off of this, Dirty Boulevard. I don't know enough about Lou Reed's career to say that it kind of reinvigorated his career or anything. I mean, he certainly doesn't strike me as somebody who, is that concerned about that kind of stuff. But Dirty Boulevard, I do remember getting a lot of airplay on MTV and alternative radio. I think I have a couple CDs by him, maybe a best of, and maybe one other CD by him. But and I have all the Velvet Underground stuff, of course. So again, this is something that kind of caught me off guard, seeing it in Goodwill for 99 cents. It really kind of surprised me. So it was kind of cool to pick this one up. And Dirty Boulevard's a great, great tune. I love it. I think I listened to this, but none of the other tunes are kind of jumping out at me as far as ones that I can suggest that I really like or anything like that. But, just a really cool one to find there in Goodwill. It's stuff like this I'm always surprised when I see in a place like that. 1986, we get The Cutting Crew and their album Broadcast. And this is one of those things, again, you see it there, 99 cents. I'm familiar with one song by them, I Just Died in Your Arms, which is on here, which was a big, big hit back then. And, but, it's like one of those records you're like, I wonder what the rest of this sounds like, and for 99 cents, what, you're not losing too much if the rest of it stinks, but it's pretty good. I mean, there's some stuff that's a little dated, I mean, they were kind of like a pop alternative band. There's, I guess, maybe like synth stuff, maybe that kind of makes some stuff sound a little dated, or just like a little, adult contemporary-ish, which I'm not a huge fan of. But I listened to this when I got it, and I remember thinking it was a lot better than I expected it to be. I mean, probably half of the tunes on here I thought were pretty good, So yeah, pretty worthwhile pickup. The band, I think they had a follow-up after this, maybe. It just kind of, I mean, they're certainly lumped into like that one-hit wonder-ish kind of category, and the band's follow-up, I don't think did well. I think the whole band just kind of fell apart. I remember when I got this a few months ago, or whenever it was, I looked up and was just kind of reading like what happened to them, and yeah, it just kind of didn't really, continue on. It had trouble with success after this record, but this is a lot better than I thought it would be. 1987, we get Missing Persons and the best of Missing Persons. Similar to the Rolling Stones record, this is kind of one that I don't even know why I picked it up. I have, where we got Missing Persons? I have their Spring Session M record that has a couple of bonus tracks on here. I got that a few years ago. It's very good. And most of the tunes that I'd want by Missing Persons are on that record. I don't know that any of those other tunes that aren't on Spring Session that are on here are really that worthwhile. So again, I just see it there, and I'm well aware I own that, and I look at the track listing and I'm like, all right, Words is on here, Destination Unknown is on here, Walking in LA is on here, and you're kind of like, I don't know, do I really need this? But, whatever. Again, I mean, I've said this a million times, 99 cents, you're not really losing out too much on it. Maybe there's 2 tracks on here that aren't on there that you like, and that makes it worth the 99 cents, I guess. So, I grabbed it. Good band, though. Really good band. That record is phenomenal. New wave, But that's it from a couple of visits. I went to the Goodwill in Hazlet. Great shop. When the next time I'm heading back to Florida for work, and I'll be back in maybe three weeks again for another little break, I'll probably go over there and pop in and see what they got. But like I said, every time I've been to that shop so far, I've kind of walked away successful with a couple of good CDs, good pickups. So we'll see. One of these days they're bound to disappoint me, right? The way it goes. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you're familiar with any of these records, by all means, let me know what you think of them or any tracks you really love. And we'll see you another time later on.